Well, hello there, and welcome to another one of these podcast things where I answer your questions. Got a lovely roaring fire on. If anything, it's a bit too roaring because it's a bit hot in here. So I start getting sweaty. That's the reason why. Got a fresh cup of tea here. Cheers. I don't think I could do one of these without a cup of tea, you know. Anyway, I'm going to fire straight in with your questions. Part 40, or Fort 40. I'm enjoying the podcast. Would you mind telling me the Maggie story? How you met, what she means to you? I can tell she's a great companion based on your references to her. The Maggie story. Oh my God, the Maggie story. Right. God, it must have been 8 years ago. I was looking for a family dog. And we did loads of research, and we just take these off a second. Done loads of research, and we thought the best of the best of the best dogs, top of the list, is a German Shepherd. The German Shepherd male is the best family dog. So I was on tour at the time actually. I was looking around for German Shepherd males, and in the process I saw a picture of this puppy, and I'd been imagining a dog's face all my life. Or what it was, maybe the future me telling the past me that Maggie's going to enter my life and improve it, if not save it. I saw a picture of a dog, and it looked like a little version of this dog that I'd been seeing. I was like, oh my God, look at that dog. It's fucking perfect. I wasn't looking for a border collie or anything. Anyway, I called him up and I said, look, I'm on tour. Can I come and see you in about 3 weeks' time? And can you keep me one of that litter? And I ended up getting back off tour, went to see the person who had these puppies, which was a farm dog. So her parents were both working dogs. And all my life, I've been fascinated by border collies. And all the owners said, don't buy a breeder border collie, buy a farm border collie. Presumably because they're sturdy, they're less inclined to get sick. So they don't cost a fortune in vet's bills. Anyway, I went back to see if they had any of these puppies when I eventually got home, and they had one puppy left, and it was the puppy in the picture, the poster girl for the litter of puppies. Couldn't believe it. I snapped her up, took her straight home, and over the course of a few years, I realised why she was still there, not just because she was for me, which was a very big part of it, I reckon, but because she was far too laid back to be a sheepdog. She's absolutely chill as fuck. Have you ever seen sheepdogs? They're mental. They're absolutely unstoppable. Their energy is like, if you don't work with them all day long, they rip the house to shreds. Maggie is so chill. She's zen. She just, nothing gets on top of her. Since I first took her on tour, she'd find her own bunk and she'd just be chill on tour on the bus. Took her in the studio, and she's so good in the studio. She just lies down, no bother. Every single situation she just acclimatizes to. And not only that, but she's really has saved my life so many times. She's now, I've realised, my soulmate. She's found me, and I've found her on this planet, in this plane, 3D plane. I do a lot of reading about starseed souls. Now, there's earthbound souls according to the theory, and I don't expect you to believe everything I say, but this is my views and my beliefs. According to the theory, there are earthbound souls which are destined to be reborn over and over again, and then there are star seeds, and that is consciousness that comes down here and volunteers, decides to be a human being. I'm convinced that star seeds forget that they're consciousness, they forget that they're a soul, and they just get involved in the 3D process and all of the troubles and the strife that goes within being a 3D person. I think it's a bit of a boot camp down here. I'm not sure what happens in sleep, but I imagine that when you go to sleep, your soul goes and reports or something like that. But anyway, I think that starseeds come here and they're meant to find each other. Now, I used to think that it would be a human. I'm meant to find a human and marry them and all the rest of the cliches. I'm convinced now that starseed souls find each other on this plane, and they find each other when they're not on this plane, when they go back to non-physical life or experience. So I think that Maggie is here for me on this level, and I'm also going to be with her on that level. And I've got no doubt in my mind that she is a soulmate. We found each other, and every single day is just filled with love and connection and bond and loyalty and communication. I mean, people say, dogs can't exactly communicate. I'm like, trust me, dogs communicate way better than humans communicate, and they also listen better as well. So that's the story of Maggie. I found her completely by fluke, and she's still here making every single day both memorable. She's just curled up around my feet because I'm talking about her. Both memorable and, just full of love. Every single day is full of love. It's a beautiful thing. And if anyone's going through any mental health problems, anything like that, or problems with human beings, get a dog. I'm sure cats and budgies and fish are all great pets as well, but get a dog for that connection. And a dog will be your best friend. Let's face it, you've been in love with other things. You've been in love with people, maybe with other dogs and stuff. You are a dog's world. It's mom, it's dad, it's group of friends, it's everything. You're its world. So when a dog looks at you, it looks at you like you really do mean something. And sometimes that's what human beings can forget, that they're important, that something is happier because they're there. And dogs remind you that every single day. So thanks, Scott. That is the story of Maggie. This one is from Miranda. Everyone I've met who know you, who know me, well, there's not very many people actually know me, but I know your songs. Has said you're a fucking brilliant songwriter and performer to the point where there's a catch. Only Wildhearts fans know the Wildhearts. What do you think is stopping your commercial success? Ouch, Miranda. Well, I'm from South Shields. Now, where I come from, nobody succeeds in music. Where I come from, I'm the only person that actually did ever succeed in music. In South Shields, if you get to make music, and which usually involves writing with, or playing rather, cover versions in a band who play pubs and small clubs. If you're making a living at making music, then you're a success. You ain't got a boss. You can pretty much get out of bed whatever time you want. To me, that's success. To be able to do this elsewhere in the country is, you're a lottery winner. You got success to ass. If you get to do this around the world, you're a rip-roaring success. But if you get to connect with people, and you forget that I'm not just a musician or a rock star, and I accept the role as rock star because it's a job, and rock stars should behave and look like rock stars. But I'm a songwriter, and if I can write songs from my measly background in a place where people don't normally connect with anyone musically. I don't know anyone who connects with anyone on a musical level, on a profound level. So if you can connect with people and connect with people directly, not only are you a success, but you're providing a service. You're an essential service. You're an essential communicator, a communicator of the human condition and spreading the word. It's not impossible. You can get through this. I've already had the kind of success that anyone around the world can ever hope for, which is, to enhance someone's life. And I'm not trying to say that to blow smoke up my arse. I know that there are people that have affected, people that have been in a coma, people that have been on the edge of suicide. And I'm not saying this to big myself up. All I'm saying is to illustrate the point that if you can have that kind of connection, that kind of responsibility, if you like, you're not just a success. You're way more than a success. So if some people view their success as being on a commercial level or a financial level, trust me, I've met a lot of people who've had commercial and financial success, and it hasn't stayed around because commercial success, you're at the mercy of your Indian summer, your star still shining until someone else's star is shining, and then you're in competition, and then someone younger with higher cheekbones or more connected or whatever fits in a physical trend that's going round or whatever. Or the money. You can be a multi-millionaire. You still got overheads. You still have to pay for things. Would I like more commercial success? Would I like more financial success? Well, yeah, but where does it stop? Where does it stop? Where, you can make $1 million. Well, I need 2 million because I've moved into a bigger house and the bills are more. Yes, I don't know. That's not in my hands. It's not within my control to be financially or commercially successful. It's within the hands of a fickle audience, because you think that if you attract a new audience and there's 1 million people, I don't know, the term 1 million still is a big one for me. I know in today's market, 1 million of anything isn't really that much, but if you get 1 million new fans, they're the kind of fans that might move on to someone else. They came from somewhere else. I can count pretty much to the nearest 100 how many people support my music. I can pretty much guarantee that if I got 1 million new fans, I'd still have the same amount of fans that are really hardcore about my music, really do want to support me and trust where I'm going to take them, are following my story. So hardcore music fans, I reckon I know how many I've got of them, no matter how many millions of people got into me, no matter how much money I'm going to get. My success is based on something that I control. It's not commercial success at the hands of a business, at the hands of Jesus Christ. I've seen the corporates destroy so much. I've seen the corporates destroy the corporates. I've seen them, when albums were doing so well, and then CDs, we can do this for a fraction of the cost. Did they keep the CDs prices down? No. So when streaming came in, of course people are going to stream for nothing, as opposed to spending a fortune on these CDs, which are largely shit anyway. Far too many songs, far too much filler. The corporates fuck themselves in the arse, put themselves in the ground, destroy their own empire, destroy the music business. Do I want them in charge of my life? Of course I don't. Would I like them to get involved? Yeah, but what I've got, I'll have if that failed. In a roundabout way, what I'm saying is that's my idea of success. It's something that I can control, which is something that is organic. It's grew exponentially with me working hard over the years. No one can take it away. I am successful as far as I'm concerned, and as far as anyone from South Shields is concerned. Fucking hell, my uncles used to work in mines. You know what I mean? This is not even a job. It's a service. I agree that I see it as a service. So yeah, I am very successful. This is from Andy. What's your 3 favourite albums of all time? And what was the first gig you went to? Oh, that's Andy from Germany. 3 favourite albums of all time. You know what? I made some notes here actually on this one, because it's impossible I'm a music freak in as much as I get a favourite new album. At least once a year I get an album that I put up with my favourite albums in the world. So there's no such thing as my favourite album of all time. I can do a quick rundown of albums that have really changed my life or really inspired me. And I would say Ramones. Any Ramones album. But probably It's Alive was the one that really did it for me. It was the Ramones on fire. The pictures inside was everything that I wanted to be in a band. Ramones It's Alive is just, if anyone ever says, what Ramones album should I listen to? I'm always It's Alive. The studio albums are killer. Rocket to Russia, you can't go wrong with Rocket to Russia. Or the Ramones Leave Home. Or my favourite Ramones album was probably Pleasant Dreams, because of the amount of pop that was in there. And I'm an unashamed pop fanatic. So anyway, we won't go into that. But people usually like albums or dislike albums because they're too poppy. I usually like them because of that reason. But I would say Ramones, It's Alive. Cheap Trick, again, how many Cheap Trick albums should you get? But the one that really killed me was Dream Police. As soon as I heard Dream Police, it was just like, this is weird. This is songs that I want to write. This is songs that are every single thing about this album is every single thing I want to be as a writer. That changed the whole game as far as I was concerned. Big Black, songs about fucking. I'm going to say about five, maybe 6 albums here. 3 impossible. Big Black Song's about fucking. As I remember reading or listening rather, John Peel saying that he's been brought to tears by 2 albums in his life. And it was Cocteau Twins and it was Ramones. And he was brought to tears. And then he said, this band is the 3rd one, and he played something from Songs About Fucking. I've yet to remember what song it was, but I was in the back of a cab, and I just burst into tears as soon as I heard this music. It was, this was round about when, hair metal and commercial metal and stuff, and I just didn't like it, didn't like that kind of music. And then I heard this and I'm just like, oh my God. And I had to get the car to pull over while he's on the clock and just be like, I had my hands, white knuckling on the back of his seat going like, I'm having a moment. Sorry about this. And that album killed me. Just really changed everything. I have to say, around about the same time when I was going through a lot of personal songs, Tegan and Sarah released a song called So Jealous. And again, that just really spoke to me. And it was not really too far from a band called, and you will know us by the Trail of Dead, released a song called So Divided. So it was Tegan and Sarah, So Jealous, Trail of the Dead, So Divided. And both of those albums are obviously similar titles, but I always put together as being one big therapy session for me at the time. And recently, I've become obsessed with a band called the New Pornographers. They have an album called Twin Radio, and to me that is a perfect album. Pop rock with tons of ideas and an unorthodox approach to what a record should be, how to arrange a song, what instruments to use, what instruments to leave out of a pop rock record. It's fairly new, it's 2000 something, but it's Twin Radio, New Pornographer. So there you go. There was 6 albums on my 3 favourite albums, but it doesn't even cover it because Master of Puppets isn't even in there. And I'm fucking crazy about Master of Puppets. So ask me on a different day, there'll be completely different albums. What was the first gig I went to? Well, when I was a kid, there was loads of gigs in worker men's clubs and in youth clubs. And there was loads of great bands like Hellenbach and Raven. Venom were around. There's loads of little gigs like that. But the first big gig that I went to, I think it was Kiss, from 1979, 1980. No, it was before that because it was Unmasked, I think it was. But that was a huge one. But the one that changed everything for me, the first gig that I tell people I went to was Slade at the Mayfair. It was the first gig that I went to by myself. I was still underage. It was no way I should have. It was over 18s. I've got a poster somewhere of that. I call that my first gig. It wasn't, but I call that my first gig because I went there by myself. Slade would just, I think they had We'll Bring the House Down in the charts at the time. So that's kind of when it was. And around about this time, Motorhead played the Bomber Tour. Overkill. Anyway, I will say Slade. There was tons of first gigs. Fuck it. But Slade was the first one that made me go, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to be in a powerful band with melodies and anthemic choruses. But what clinched it for me, what really clinched it was I went to the bar. I'd been in the pit. Obviously, everyone just went in the pit. Everyone I knew went straight in the pit. Lost shoes, lost fucking arms of jackets, lost blood. And I went to the bar to ask for a glass of water. I'd never bought a drink at this point, I don't think. And I went to the bar and asked her, and for some reason, the words, "Can I have a pint of beer?" came out, and they sold me a pint of lager. And it was the best tasting drink I've still ever had in my life. So the gig is really memorable because of that, and also because Noddy Holder busted his zip on stage, and he had his guitar over his privates, and a girl came on stage, went behind him, reached around and started giving him a hand job. Those 2 things make that gig more memorable than all the other first gigs that I ever went to.